Šiaip jau Egidijus Aleksandrovičius moderuoja.
Nežinau, kažkodėl Egidijus Aleksandrovičius nusprendė būti seminaristu šiandien. Na, nesvarbu. Šiandien pas mus svečiuojasi Martín Parselis arba Martínas Parselis iš Argentinos ir norėčiau pakviesti Martiną užimti savo vietą ir šiandien kalbėsime apie...
Čia yra mano vieta?
Taip.
Nebūtinai, kur norit gali būti jūsų vieta, gali ir čia būti.
Kaip tau patogu, bet jam reikės skirti savo vietą.
Taip. Tai mes galim kažkaip bandyti.
And you will have to share slides through Teams. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nes tai yra ekranas pasidalintas.
Taip.
Ar pavyks įsipatoginti?
Could you first maybe tell something about yourself for the audience, because not everybody are acquainted with your work and with your fields of interest. Okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And can you share the slides first, and so that everybody could? We're going to talk about.
Let me try this. I don't know. Can we check if it is okay in the other side?
Ar tu gali prisijungti pats ir pažiūrėti, ar gerai matosi? Ar
Manęs prisijungti.
Tai Rūta prisijungs. Aha, we will check, Rūta will check.
Mes matom čia, kas matosi.
But yeah, we see it here, so...
And we all see this screen here.
Okay.
And those who are online also see the same view.
Okay. You're transmitting right now?
Yeah.
So,
but make sure that
we are
slides
live.
work.
Yeah, they work.
Okay, good. Dabar, kaži, ar studentai girdi viską įdomu? Pamojuokit studentai, jeigu mus girdit. Kas prisijungia? Okay.
Ar girdite mus? Ar galite atsiliepti kas nors iš ekrano? Tai jūsų giminaitis?
Ja, čia, mano sesuo.
Verutė.
Mano sesuo.
Oля, Verutė.
Can I see? Ah. No problem. No problem. We can start?
Yes. This is more for them, not for the audience here, so that everybody would hear everybody who, it's for the record. Okay? So you just have to be louder. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to begin.
Finally. Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be here. Basically, because I am a scholar, I am an engineer, educator, and artist, can I say? So my fields of interest are basically technology plus education, technology plus society, technology plus communication, and philosophy of technology. So my profile is basically interdisciplinary, and I like it very much because I found an alternative way to read the world, and I encountered that fascinating. Today, well, I'm teaching some some topics related with that profile in many careers here in the university, well, in the university. And now I will use my father's life timeline as a trigger of many experience with the Lithuanians in Argentina. So this is a small block of the library of my parents' house. As you can see, well, there are more blocks like that. I have one very similar in my home also. There are a lot of Lithuanian books of many topics and many dates and years of publication. And I like to start with the free period, because it's the most important event to start to talk about my grandparents. Before that, before Smetona, they were born, so they lived as children the freedom, and then they lived also the economical crisis, and also, as I understand, as I have heard in my home, there were not only economical issues, but also the political instability they face about starting with that instability, like political risk, future risk. So that combination makes them get out of Lietuva. At home, in that library, there are several books, very interesting books, because you can find that this Majas Catecismas that was printed in Kaunas in 1906, for example, are Naujasis Testamentas that always also was printed in Kaunas in 1922. And this is my genealogical tree, the basic genealogical tree. Those who are marked with red emigrated to Argentina. So each of my grandparents had a lot of brothers and sisters. I have some relationship with, well, 2, 3, 4 people from that tree. Antanas Pikutis was the father of my mother. That line is mostly from Zukia. The mother of my mother, Veronica, that line is mostly from Shaulei. Antanas Parselis and Lisa Sheima is mostly from Panevėžys, including Josas Parojus is an immigrant. It was an immigrant to United States. It's a very interesting story. He went from Lietuva swimming. It was crazy. He was rescued by a Swedish ship. He was writer and poet. And, well, mostly from Panevėžys and mostly from Kaunas, the family of my father's mother, Natalia. This is a picture, a very interesting picture, of the ship Arlanza, and that is marked my grandfather, the father of my mother. And this is the picture of the well, and the ship that came my grandmother, mother of my mother. In this ship, Captain Arcona from Hamburg, and this is the data and the age of each one of them when they emigrate to Argentina. As you see, it's basically 1929, basically 1930. Buenos Aires at that time was a very impressive city because there were yet a lot of people living there. Buenos Aires and Argentina was a land of opportunities. There were underdeveloping a great middle class. As you see, that is a photograph of that epoch. A lot of people, a lot of commerce like that. It was a very monumental city with a lot of modern infrastructure for the time, and always connected with the rest of the world. At the same time that in the United States, we saw the same kind of movies. For example, Chaplin in the photo. So Ernesto born near the Lithuanian parish in Buenos Aires city, and that parish was connected with a school. In the central photo, this is my son Tobias, and my father teaching where he lives from the garden of the parish. So that is the primary school that is near the parish, and the Laicas, that is one of the newspaper that was printed in Buenos Aires. There were like 7 or 9. It was very, very impressive how a small community has so many newspapers. Some of them, because not always there were agree between some groups. The first photograph is my mom, and the second photograph in the newspaper is of my dad. My dad is, well, it's there. And the third photograph is from the Das newspaper distribution. They used kids, Lithuanian kids, for the distribution that work. There worked my uncle, Rafael. This is the list of Lithuanian publications. If you see, well, about 1930, a little bit before and after, they started. And this Laicas was printed until 1999. It is relatively recent times. The secondary school, he was a seminar, the Metropolitan Seminar in Buenos Aires. That is, it's beautiful, and the rayon is beautiful also. And when he finished the secondary studies, he went direct to Rome to study philosophy and to follow the priest career. At the same time, at the same time was published the Apie Martynas Fierro.
Martynas Fierro. Aš manau, kad geriausia tu gali pasakyti. Martynas su Martynu, gerai.
Well, Martín Fierro is a traditional traditional piece of literature, Argentinian piece of literature. It talks about gauchos and how the gauchos were not so obedient, they were rebels, and Jose Hernandez, its author, makes a recount of that knowing of the word of the gauchos. That at that time was traduced to a Lithuanian. This is the Lithuanian version by Viljutis in 1958. At the same time, my father was to Rome. The Lithuanians can read the Martin Fierro in their own language. So the first picture is of the Angelicum. My father studied philosophy there with Dominics. The Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas. There he knew the future first rector of Catholic University of Argentina. That is the first link. He returned to Argentina. He has to revalidate his title of philosophy and started to teach in the Catholic University in Argentina with this rector. Somehow his idea, his plan to be priest disappeared and appeared my mother. So there's a picture of their wedding in 1966 in the Lithuanian parish, obviously. Obviously. So 1 year later, there were the Pietų Amerikos jaunimo congresses. So mano tėvas buvo yes of those organizers. There are a lot of this event is well registered by photographs and newspaper. For example, those with the tribute at Plaza de Mayo. Plaza de Mayo is the main institutional square in the city. And the third picture is from Studio Sabaite. I don't know where, but not in the center of the city. Here is a color picture of that tribute. And one year later, in relation of that Pietų Amerikos congresses, the Jaunimo Sąjunga decided to write something about Lithuania that could serve as as educational piece for Lithuanians in Latin America. Así será the introduction. Argentina Lithuanian Sabaite, Studio Sabaite, Corriere dalle Bavo, Storia di Americo Castillo, Boquetillos, Brasil, Uruguay, and Venezuela. And it was mentioned in many other newspapers in the world, especially in United States. This is a spot, and I choose this spot basically because the source of this spot is ELTA. And there are not a lot of evidence of the ELTA existence in Buenos Aires, but it existed along many years. And my father was director and redactor for Latin America of that ELTA. Well, I born in 1970. No parece.
No.
It doesn't appear. It was very interesting because all community know it when a child born or take a baptism like this note. I am that's Martinez. So and then in 75, 76, there were another congresses in where here Galima no? Professor Ernesto Parselis, Stovi Congresos Programos Vedėjas.
Čia jau buvo pasaulio lietuvių.
Čia jau buvo pasaulio lietuvių kongresas. Aš nežinau, trečias? Trečias. Okay. Čia irgi the second evidence that ELTA existence in Argentina about that Congress's publication. My sister born in 1966. I didn't find the newspaper, the Lithuanian newspaper announced. Sorry, Berute. But in 1977, my father became dean of the School of Philosophy of other university, depending of the Dominics also in Buenos Aires and Tucumán, that is a province of Argentina. The particular thing here is that that convent is it's part of this church that is a historical church in Buenos Aires city and very important in the history of Argentina, some fights with English people. 1 year later, he was appointed as official delegate of the Republic of Argentina to UNESCO. Was visiting professor in 1982. During 10-20 years, he gave a lot of conferences on the main clubs, Lithuanian clubs in Buenos Aires city, or near, like that. He was very young and not so young, no? There are many examples here about the Aushra Laikraštis, poems, the liberation process, Darius Igivienas, etc. Many years later, 80-something, he took office as academic secretary in the Catholic University. Many years later, the Baltos Chiales, and then this newspaper. I have this newspaper at home. Rimtu Permainiun Aviasis Miatis. Then in Buenos Aires, many members of the community, we go to the streets and supporting Nepreclausomide, but also to juntar firmas.
Yeah, we were collecting signatures from different
to
present to the different institutions. So part of
the president.
Yes.
There are many photographs. Here is Ariana, her sister Daniela,
and
under the Lituania. This kind of papers.
Yeah.
Argentinos, Lithuanians, signs. Well, At the same time, in 1990 and 1991, my father's directed that publication. There were two books that was like a journal about to think about how Lietuva could face the future from the political and economical point of view, or specifically cultural point of view. There were many authors from all of the world, but writing in Spanish. So this was distributed in many libraries and universities. Then you should talk now about that.
Thank you, Martin.
1991, many people organized the September Peliaca in Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil.
So I think here what is the interesting fact is that while organizing this international youth event, again, Ernesto Parselis and Martina's and other friends were part of the committee and made a very huge impact in how we will be managing all the agenda. One important milestone took place that Lithuania and all the Baltics became independent in those years, while in the previous events we had to discuss, okay, so how we will be contributing to help or to make the freedom come true for Lietuva, or how we will be behaving so that we can keep the Lietuvybė inside us, and what can we do more with Lithuania independence? So what shall we do? What type of Jaunimo congresses we should have? What is our role? What is then that in the diaspora we will need to do now? So many questions, many challenges, and Ernesto Parselis was again in charge of the program, of the academic program for the study days of that event. And actually, I think that whatever happened during those 3 weeks was a unique opportunity, because it was just in between the changes, and it was for us in that sense quite a historical moment, that in South America we had the chance to have first time actually the Lithuanian youth associations coming to be part of this event, which was really something totally new.
Do you remember how many participants were there?
So in overall we had more than 600. And from Lithuania, youth organizations that were becoming established right after the independence, we had around 14, but not all of them were able to make it to South America, because back then still they needed to travel through Moscow, and then they were stopped because they didn't get the visas to come out. At that time, there was no diplomatic kind of, established relations with many of those countries. So
anyway, hundreds of people going to the south of the south. Well, it's important.
It's important, and on top of that, for us, I think was that the Lithuanians were the first time.
Well, yeah.
In that such event, and we had them in South America. So I think that was really. Great thing.
There are many evidence. Well, I have very long hair at that time. I don't know.
You don't remember?
This is Google. Yeah, I remember. This is Google's fault.
Yeah.
If you Google yourself, you will find some things embarrassing, things maybe. Then at the same time, Algimantas Rastauskas was named consul of Lithuania in Argentina, honorary consul. So it was the I don't know, the unique person to to talk officially Lithuanian, Argentinian, Lithuanian, to talk officially with the country. So it was a very important milestone in the history of Lithuanians in Argentina. Many other members of the community were asked to collaborate. Of my mother collaborating with the consulate. Then 2 years later, my father was named vice-rector of the university. And some periods also it was director of institutional affairs. During those times, 90s basically, there were the possibility, thanks to Algis and many other people, to organize well, a lot of events that marked a lot the Lithuanian community in Argentina, because there were more flow of people and more flow of artworks, for example. Here's well, that is my sister and my mother. That is one in one of the Argentinian clubs, exposing their artworks in black and white. Algis, Elvira Krauchunaite, well, Argentinian, Lithuanian. Well, here my mother exposing in Vilnius. Hey, you are there.
I am also there.
Yeah,
Yes.
you are also there. They called us menas tiltas tarp Lietuvos ir Argentinos. So, well, my sister also dovanojo one artwork at that time to video. I don't know where it does exist today. There were. In Argentina was very interesting because with the support of the official support of Lithuania, we can get very good places. This place in Buenos Aires is a very interesting place, Centro Cultural Recoleta. So, well, the community had the opportunity to show the customs and the engravers and many other artworks. Krauchunaite, Mama Krauchunaite, Plikionite.
Thank you. Ačiū.
You were like that.
Yes. What were you saying before?
Nothing. Well, in 1996, we received the visit of Brazauskas. That was the first visit.
Official state visit of President of Lithuania to Argentina.
No, the president at that time in Argentina was Carlos Menem. So it was a period of a kind of openness to the world and many relationships. So I think that has to do with that. Well, this is a dinner with the community. Again, I am there with my sister.
The one that is just besides President Brazauskas is the president of Argentina by that time, Carlos Saúl Menem. So for the ones that don't recognize, is not somebody from our community, but is the president of Argentina.
Not so tall. Well, and
I have a question. Who is the tall man close to the president of Argentina?
Josecito.
Yeah, so
Josecito, Luxas. No.
Luxas?
Luxas.
Okay, I need my glasses. But
well, there are all
you know,
friends.
but if you just a very quick comment. He is our age, so he's from our generation. But his son, Kovas Luxas, he's the fourth generation of Lithuanians and is in Lithuania right now. He's studying in Vilnius, and he just started this week his military service in Lithuania. So he just came and he has now a duty to fulfill, and he decided that he will stay, and he came not knowing the language basically, so to learn Lithuanian language, and he's decided that he will be here. So actually it is very interesting, that story, that the generations are still with this feeling of the relation somehow with Lithuania, even after so many years, or after that such a huge distance.
Well, there's Dalia Alvarez Cabriales.
Yes, the same.
Her daughter.
Two
daughters.
Yes,
all,
two daughters.
They are also in Lithuania
here, Dalia,
right now.
So the two daughters are also living in Lithuania, and they're studying and living here as well. So.
Yeah. Well, more and more organizations. This was a concert, a very good concert of Gabriela Guilite, well, at that time that was the adolescent of Elvira Krepchenait. And there were a lot of links between Lithuania and Argentina in terms of cultural events. Some of them organized by my mother, by Algis, by Ariana, this group. That is Sucivenians Lithuania Argentina, also a conference of my father about the 80 years of commemoration of Nepriklausomybė. I think one very important milestone was in 1998 when Algis and my father presented a conference in the National Library of Argentina about the first Lithuanian book. At that time, there were 450 years of that, the Catecismus. This is the manuscript of my father of the discourse, and this is the National Library. The first man, I think, was the director of the National Library. In the middle, Algis and my father. It's not so common to see the Lithuanian flag in Bastevens institutions in Argentina. Well, 2,000 years, there were not only a consul, were named an ambassador and also business aggregators. I don't know how it. That is Valiukonis and Kalainis, a collaborator for many, many years, and now is still collaborating with the embassy in Madrid. Well, with the embassy installed in Buenos Aires, also was more easily to make a lot of cultural events. Valiukonis, that guy in the other picture, also participate in a community reunions. Here is Brazaitis, Yuri Brazaitis. Well, Yuri Brazaitis, I don't know if you know him. He was my Cristo Tebas, so it's like family. His family is my family. So my father, Michudas, Valiukonis, Daujotas, and Stilvina. And I want to mention that man, Georgis Gilvidis. I don't know if you know or have heard about him. He registered a lot of events of Lithuanians in Argentina, filming. So those films that are he had his own kinoteatras, Lietuviško kinoteatras. So in each event, he shows the same. Well, I remember that the same films. That was very funny, but finally, it's very important because it's the filmic record of the community in Argentina. He had a very, very rich archive. There are not so much on the internet. I found just that brief description of his work in that page. In 2005, he was Mano father's Cristo Tebas, so he inherits all that records, filmic records, and they make a donation here in the Tubos Teatro Músico Cirquino Museums. So I think that material is still there. So if you want to use it for something, for research or what, I suppose you can check there. Well, the family always were supporting the Lithuanians who make some trip to Argentina or Buenos Aires. For example, that guy with a cap was a priest that wanted to climb the Aconcagua. The Aconcagua is the highest mountain in America, so it's a big challenge, and he make a trip for that. So there are many examples of that kind of links of Lithuanians coming to Buenos Aires for something, and we were hosts for them, or like Rokas Subovas that went in 2007, and he prepared a concert for him, and I think, yeah, and my mother also read some text of Churlonis in the same concert as Subovas played. The second president officially visiting the Republic of Argentina was Atamcos in 2008, and where we have very good memories about that visit. Here is your parents with the president. Here are my parents with the president. There's Georgis Brazaitis, and it was very interesting because Adamco's, it was the second time in Argentina for him because he went to play basket, I think, many years ago. So he knew some spots in Buenos Aires. For example, the parish in which we make a big lunch, and it was very memorable, the face of Adamcos when he enters there. He was really touched. So 2016, I came to Lithuania with my child. At the same time, my father was one very VIP room for guests was named with the name of my father in the Catholic University as commemoration, and he retired. Was named Professor Emeritus of the university, and I will mention this because in 2018 they were in Uruguay and there were a mission of Lietuvos Kultūros Taryba. They wanted to know a little bit more about the Pietų Amerikiečiai gyvenimas. So they visit my parents in Uruguay. So they didn't see the books, the photographs. They didn't see nothing about that. But it was a very pleasant meeting. And I mentioned this because it was very strange when one of our relatives in Vilnius found this picture in the streets of Vilnius.
But you know why? Because this was an exhibition that, of that expedition's photographs taken in those South American countries, and actually it was very nice to walk around Lukiškaiš to see all the posters of the very well-known faces and people in our lives.
Yeah, my mother has shame today of that. So he retired. His retirement was pleasant. I'm not in that picture because I took the picture. So they are my sister, my mother, my father, my two kids, Tobias and Emilia, and the kids of Perute, Francisco y Teo. That is my nearest family. And he always being with friends, being young, being not so young and connected with the community. Well, that's me and my father. Why I am taking a Poland flag? Well, okay, the guy I have to explain that. The guy on the left, he was Polish, so he take the two flags. So for the photograph, I said, okay, dogman. Well, and always he was connected with his friends. He died 4 months ago. So we visited lately the crypt of the Lithuanian community in the Lujan Basilica. That is the patron saint of Argentina. There were a bigger chapel, Lithuanian chapel there, but well, it took some work to maintain it, and well, this is the actual chapel there. So thank you. Well, I want to donate many books of this book, that it was an educational book written by my father. These are 2 books from my sister, and this one is boring. This one is an academic book. It's my book. This is academic book, but I will.
Thank you so much for sharing these interesting stories and lovely stories. But maybe someone from public has any questions or.
Let me ask you about your friend Polish, because we know so little about Lithuanian community, but we know almost nothing about Polish community in Argentina, except maybe Witold Gombrowicz and Transatlantis or his diaries, which are very much about Argentinian life. Do you have any memories from Polish Lithuanian community relations, communities relations, anything of that? Some solidarity, anti-Soviet, anti-communist movement,
Well,
something about that.
Well, first of all, there are literally a lot of Jewish Polish in Buenos Aires, a lot. We call them Rusos. But that is a very local thing because of the termination of their surnames for Argentinians sounds of Russian, but it's not like that, but it's Lunfardo. There are a lot of Jewish Polish. They have some communities. I don't know much about them, really. But we have coincided in that demonstration against the invasion of Putin, the Putin's invasion in Ukraine. So it was very interesting because there were Polish, there were Franzose, there were a lot of communities there. We marched to the Russian embassy. We were all together. So the first conclusion is, well, the Argentinian Poland community is against the invasion of Russia. That is clear. No.
How is organized the Lithuanian community there? How is working? Is still active today?
Well,
I am living in Vilnius already more than 20 years, so I have little pieces of information. You know better, maybe. There is a community that is still active, but is becoming smaller, smaller maybe.
Yeah, well, there are many clubs in the Buenos Aires dense urban region. There are 2 communities. A little bit near that urban Buenos Aires is other community. There are Centro Lituanos, Susivienimos, SLA.
Berisso, Nemunas, and Mindaugas.
Berisso and Nemunas, Mindaugas. And then there are very little communities in Córdoba, no, in Tandil, in Córdoba, Rosario, and what else? Oh.
As communities, I think this is all. Yeah. Then there are few Lithuanian roots having people and are very small family groups, but
No.
they're not working as communities.
Today, the clubs are focused basically in dance and sometimes in language. Well, and the special dates, no? Yonines or so on. But basically, they are focused on loudest manas or showcase. If I don't know, in the 80s and 90s, they were participating in other cultural activities like we show today. Bueno, y después está Lost y demás, pero eso
Yeah, there are also together with that this other more, you know, Lithuanian organizations that are part of the global Lithuanian community. So that the World Lithuanian organization like Pasaulio Lietuvių Bendruomenė and Pasaulio Lietuvių Jaunimo Sąjunga. In Argentina, they were never up. Okay, there were very different stages of the history, but nowadays we don't have scouts or Lithuanian scouts or other type of organizations like that, like in our countries. There used to be, but there are no longer such organizations alive. And what Martinez is now saying, I could assume that, but this is my own reflection, that after the Lithuanian embassy was closed down, nowadays, after the restoration of independence in the 2012-2014, that meant that lots of these ties with closer ties with Lithuania, especially in the cultural arena. Later, we could say also economical, maybe also side. They almost disappeared because there were no more resources, there were no more energy, maybe, and the lack of sufficient knowledge of language. That is a very also big barrier to sometimes communicate with the Lithuanian institutions. It's not that there would not be a response in Argentina's community, but there is a kind of problematic situation with building those bridges with Lithuania because of the lack of knowledge of Lithuanian language. So that is why I think that many efforts that still these communities that are alive are to keep the Lithuanian language courses and so on, because of course that without that language, you know, the essence of many of these things, you know, is no longer there.
And if you want something else, you can do it individually today.
Yeah.
So that's why there are children here living in Lithuania.
Yeah, that is also.
If I may interrupt you and ask, as the professional in technologies, could it be that artificial intellect or electronic translations or all that stuff help Lithuanian, Spanish-speaking or Portuguese Spanish-speaking groups of Lithuanians to communicate? And in this respect, globalization and technologies are somehow working for the case of preserving identity and language skills and that stuff. How do you comment it?
I agree. I use that.
Uses electronic translation, for example, reading some Lithuanian sources using generators or something like that.
Well, I don't think there's many Lithuanian Argentinians that want to read Lithuanian. That is my perception. So I don't know. Maybe I think they use that when they have to travel, like me, and I need more vocabulary. So I use the help of those translators, but that's the point. One thing is maintain the language, and other thing is to read something about Lithuanian culture. It's there are very different things. I can go to pirkti duonas ir viskas gerai, but aš nieko nežinau apie Lietuvos istoriją, for example. So there are a lack of motivation to do that, I think. There are some projects to later we can talk about that, but there are one or two projects that want to revive in a way this kind of expectations and motivations. Sorry.
I just had a question for you also about your father's relations with other Lithuanians also were very active, you know, what kind of branch or network he had, you know, because I understand there were also many those who worked in the media, the Lithuanian media, also priests, also maybe other scholars who worked at universities. How it looked like his circle of those, you know, intellectuals, let's say, so those very active people, how big it was. Maybe he had connections with other people in other countries, for example, Uruguay, Brazil, or I don't know, Venezuela, or other countries. It's also interesting. Yeah, I know that it's difficult to answer.
Yeah, it's difficult. I can answer in general. First of all, one person, relatively important person in his network is the Pope. He studied with him in Rome. 2 years. 2 years. He not the whole career. The Pope is a little bit older than my father. So, but they lived in the same tower at Angelicum. So there were Argentinians, a lot of Argentinians, but he was very connected with Lithuanian priests, and it was very interesting because I traveled with him once to Italy, and it was very impressive how in each block he knows one priest, and half of them were Lithuanian. Were Lithuanians. That impressed me. In Uruguay or Brasilia, he knew a lot of people because he was a very active in the communities, and you see he was redactor of ELTA, and this book was distributed in those countries. So he knew very well a lot of people. Also, I have to say that from 2002, 2003, his work in academic administration or academic management was very hard. So he changed the mix of the attention between the community and the university. Maybe at that time my mother was more active than him, but until the 1990s, he was very well known for all the communities in Latin America, especially in the south of Latin America. But I can't tell you, I can make you a finished list of contacts. I can try.
Yeah.
Well, Saulitis, for example.
Yeah.
Of your parents immigrated.
What?
Or grandparents.
Grandparents. Grandparents.
So in your case, your grandparents. In my case, it's a mix. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In my case, 4 grandparents, 1999.
So they were.
The reason, what I heard in my home, it was very difficult economical issues at that time, but also the political instability. Yeah, they were afraid. They feel something bad with Russians.
What time, what year did you?
29.
Huh?
29.
Yeah, quite early. Just before the war. When it started the war.
Yeah, but Lithuania wasn't, as I know, wasn't so quiet at that moment also. So they were born under oppression. So they had that memory in their life.
Very, very distant question, distant from the topic. Sometimes I think that Southern America and the people of that continent are exceptional in one respect. They never faced world wars and those atrocities. What we Europeans are usually very, very traumatic time. And how do you feel this Argentinian perspective, reading about Russian aggression against Ukrainian people, some Middle East challenges, but somehow a unique continent with no wars and so many European memories brought during the processes of immigration.
Yeah.
What is this? What is your relation or perception of the war and those global traumas? Somehow it's something what would be interesting to hear from you. How do you?
Well, it's personal, it's subjective. I think it has to do more with the links my grandmothers maintained with their relatives during the occupation, and it was horrible because they living in Buenos Aires, they knew a lot of things, but secretly. You know, the post came open and corrected, or didn't come, never come, and some kind of code to tell something from Lietuva, and I don't know, that feeling, it was not in flesh, but was like inherit the feelings of my grandfathers and grandmothers, of their sisters and other family, direct family. They grow with them. They had 24 years, so they shared 24 years with them, and then nothing, just male, an intervened male. The other thing is maybe we knew sometimes more than Lithuanians in terms of information. We have sometimes more information, but not the not the physical suffering. It's rare.
I have an also serious question,
Yeah.
if I may. Curious about because it's usual that the immigrant communities, they contribute somehow to cuisines of countries. I'm curious whether Lithuanians have made any contributions that are lasting. And second question is, are there any Lithuanian products available in Argentina?
The second?
Lithuanian products that are available in Argentina.
Lithuanian what?
Lithuanian products, food products.
Products. Like from today exported.
Yeah.
Okay. Productos de Lituania en Argentina.
First question. I don't think Lithuanian cuisine made a collaboration on the everyday meals in Argentina. But Lithuanians love a dog makes Argentinian maestro. Well, in fact, I don't know what is Argentinian food really. We have some styles and some mix of many sources. Your question is very good because Lithuanians eat a lot of potatoes, but potatoes are American. So I don't know. It's very strange. But in the community, all the Lithuanian dishes were everyday dishes, plus the Argentinian dishes. That's into the community. They well, first the mate.
The Argentinian ones.
The mate is it's like a narbata. Well, I can show you.
Yes, I know what it is. It's like
yeah. I depend on that all the day. Yeah, all the day. It's great. Yeah, and basically cow meat in any form.
So simple.
Yeah. So that was very quickly assimilated in the Lithuanian community. And vermutas, fernetas, many vermouths.
But then all the Lithuanian dishes were also there.
Yeah, they share the Lithuanian table. So in the Argentinian table, it is almost impossible to find Lithuanian recipes or food.
There are maybe because they are also very, then mixed, with maybe some influential that would be German type, Polish type. No. If you would go to the market, then they would call those things Polish, German, Russian. But that is not pure Lithuanian, anyways.
Yeah, but the Polish community, made a lot of dishes.
Yeah.
So there are some restaurants or rooms but it's like a specialty, something very special. It's not. No. And the other question was products of Lithuania. No, there are no Lithuanian products in Argentina. No. It's a bad moment for Argentina. you need, yeah, frozen Zeppeline. No, you need to wait a little bit to reestablish a reasonable market, because today this gas issue is broader.
Is that the hand up, or is that you're thinking about something?
Scratching it.
Okay. Maybe private. Of course. A little bit related with yours. How successful were you when you were collecting signatures for Lithuanian freedom? I mean, how in general Argentinians are open to small country far away, and of course it was a big thing, collapsing of Soviet Union in general, but a very small country, and how does yeah.
Okay, it's my fifth day in Lithuania. I surprised. I'm still surprised when I hear talking Lithuanian. It's so strange for an Argentinian. Yeah, the Lithuanian speaking, it's so strange. If I am in any airport or any country or in Buenos Aires, when I hear Lithuanian, well, here it's very difficult because everybody. So it's not so common. It is not so common to find people who really knows about Lithuania. But the idea of freedom mobilize many people, so that sign account was good. I think was very good. In Buenos Aires, in my city, in general, there are a lot of people that don't know nothing about Lithuania. In the academic circles, well, they don't know much, but they know where Lithuania is. That's a lot. And well, in sometimes one of those people says, "Oh yeah, I know the language, the Baltics, the history with Deutschland and the Russians." Yeah, but they are labai mažai miškonių.
Is any Lithuanian origin football or basketball player in Argentina?
Yeah. There are a lot of sports fans, and they know. I am not a sport fan, so I don't know. But yeah. When you talk with basketball fans in Argentina, everyone knows the Žalgiris Kaunas and Olympics and. They really know that.
We don't have so many Lithuanian origin sports people, players in Lithuania, but there are some that are coming. Like now we have this one girl that is
hockey.
The hockey. This lady, this young girl. Then in rugby we had the
Rimas
Alvarez, who is also known. Then so there are some, but it's not of the level of the Sabonis or something like that. Yeah.
If you already touched food and sport, maybe the third in line would be some drink.
There you go.
Could you tell about
Aš nieko
Lithuanian
nežinau apie
habits,
to.
during the decades, and how is now Ray Castro with the Daniel
Castro.
Agustus in the downtown of Buenos Aires?
I don't go usually, but well,
Are they still alive?
yeah, as I know, they still alive, and it was like Skirtumas.
Yeah, they split it with some
They
of the
split it,
partners,
yeah.
but they modified a little bit the model, but there is still alive. It's more like a club now. It's not, they don't have the restaurant part anymore.
I'm working as the attaché for them.
For them, yeah.
Attracting Lithuanian tourists to visit the main place in Buenos Aires, Castro, if the place is the same. But my question was maybe more serious about drinking habits, because Lithuanians usually are heavy.
Heavy drinkers.
Say in São Paulo, in Villa Zelina, Bar Dovito, maybe you visited. It's just in front of the Lithuanian church, and the pub is not big, but it's
That's a great combination.
high rating of the pub. Usually somehow covered by the legend that Lithuanians are usually the best drinkers in general, and many people, non-Lithuanian origin, visiting, doing, helping, doing business in the Bar Dovito. Somehow, how do you imagine Catholic family, maybe not heavy users of that alcohol?
Why not?
I'm provoking.
Well, in the old community, it was a very serious issue because in the same block was the parish, the school, Mano Tėvas namų, na baras, lietuviškas baras.
Sakalauskas, Elvardai Sakalauskas.
Yeah. So that buvo the same Weltanschauung, no? The parish and the bar. Yeah. Anyway, the clube are well, yeah, there are a lot of good drinkers. Yeah. I can say 90% of the club participants are over the average in Argentina. Yeah. So we are doing well.
but the change from vodka or krupnik to wine maybe is
beer.
Mainstream.
No, mainstream is beer.
Beer, not the wine.
Mainstream is beer. Yeah. There are many situations, embarrassing situations. Like one in one of the clubs. I don't want to mention this because it is recorded. They finished a truck of beer. So 2 a.m. they called. We need more beer. It's 2 a.m. We don't work at this time. So it's, yeah, they are professionals.
So you mean that we can keep on the traditions?
Yeah.
It would be very interesting to hear your memories from your childhood and what you hear from your father or your grandfather about hope of Lithuania independent, about future, about maybe they has any news from Lithuania or what they think, how in Lithuania people live in your childhood days. So something about that.
2 things. The first one is Lithuania always is beautiful, always is perfect. There's no country as Lietuva. And everything is good there. Duanas. Oh, duanas. Oh, the smell, viscous. Viscous, yeah, is perfect. In the other hand, they transmit us fear. Yeah. Yeah.
Grandparents, when they came to Argentina, what they found old Lithuanian community.
Yeah.
What connections between all the immigrants and such a kind wave of immigrants which came in 1939, as you say.
Well,
Relationships between
yeah.
generation of immigrants. Waves.
No sé si tienes una respuesta. I think they were welcomed almost naturally in the first community of Lithuanians. Always there were some people that you didn't know if they work for Lithuania or for Soviet Union. That it was also a situation. There were people that some people in the community didn't know very well what they think really. But in general, they were welcome into the community. The whole community had also ideological tendencies. It doesn't being homogeneous 100%. But in general, that was.
Yeah, I also tried to remember what was the stories that or the things that my mom was saying about my grandparents, because these generations also were too. My mom was born in Argentina, and my grandparents came in the 20s also, maybe even a little bit earlier, 26, 27, and they were 18, 19, they were even younger. And for those people, and especially when you are very young and you are alone, it was important to find these other people to whom to connect, because they needed support, they needed help, they needed where to live, to find a job, and the community was there for such support. As always, I understand that there were some that liked that type of organizations and they were more structured in the relations, and there were others that were less and they didn't care so much. They were between friends or between neighbors, even from Lithuania, they would go together, but they didn't need the formal community, the organizations for that. So, yeah. But even the name of those Lithuanian clubs, I would say, this is Savišalpos organizacija. So this was the name, if you would put it in straight. So actually they were supporting and for the ones that came after the Second World War, like my father, also was the same. They also needed job, they needed where to live, and they were seeking for also for these places and people. Maybe more complex, this second or this later part of the immigration, with more political connotations than in this independent period of time. This other generation after, especially the DP camps and so on. So that was a little bit different story, but.
One information. My grandparents know each other in Buenos Aires. They didn't know in Lithuania. They know each other there.
Maybe in a ship.
No. There were 4 different ships. They connected by the Lithuanian community, and two of them dancing tango in La Boca.
Yeah.
a neighborhood, typical neighborhood of immigrants. They didn't live there, but they went to dance tango there, in Milonga.
It's the same case in my family. So my grandparents met, both of them, so all of them. So in this, not dancing tango, no. But I know that also through the activities in the Lithuanian community, one is singing, the other one was doing theater, and some dancing, and you know, they would move from one part of the city to the other, have dinner, have dancing, and you know, was how they would, you know, meet and.
So dancing is way to love.
If it's not tango, then it was polka surraguches, but I think something like that.
Yeah. But you know, Argentinians invented tango. Argentinians are not happy like other countries in Latin America.
Lithuanians influence.
maybe, yeah. And in Buenos Aires, it's cold. Really, it's not the exact imaginary of Latin America most Europeans have. No, it's cold in winter, and we are sad. We are not happy. We are not Caribbean.
Salsa y merengue.
Yeah.
We run out of questions, I guess. We're getting hungry, right? So, thank you once again. And
Clap. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Šviesą geriau, tamsoje paprastai.
Jūs apie, aš ką norėčiau, super